The Honolulu City Clerk's office has officially announced that Tommy Waters is not eligible in the race for the District 4 seat on the City Council. Our Dylan Ancheta explains how they're handling an election that's already underway.
Voters have already been casting their ballots in this year's primary election. But what happens next now that Tommy Waters has been officially disqualified from the race to represent East Oahu? The Honolulu City Clerk's office acknowledged a circuit court ruling which said Waters couldn't run for another term. After an extensive legal review, the office provided insight into how the race will be handled. Votes cast for Tommy Waters will be counted only to determine if any of the other eligible candidates receives a majority 50% plus one of the vote. If they do, they will automatically win the seat. If that doesn't happen, the top two vote getters will be in a runoff in the general election in November. Under state law, people who've already cast their vote cannot change it, even if they voted for Waters. It's also unclear what will happen if Waters wins his appeal and it's later found he was eligible to run.
This provides a little bit of clarity, but this is still a real mess. And I think voters are understandably frustrated.
We were at the ballot drop box outside of Honolulu Hale Saturday when workers put up this official notice to voters stating that Tommy Waters is ineligible to be elected to the office of council member for District 4.
I think it's devastating, though, to wait this long during an election cycle before you give voters guidance. That apathy that's already there has now built.
In a statement, Acting City Clerk Chad Kadota said in part, "We recognize that this decision is frustrating for many voters, particularly those who have already returned their ballot." He added that it took time for the legal review to take place and they remain committed to conducting the election fairly, transparently, and consistently for every voter.
If you're frustrated by this, you're not alone. We're all feeling this, even those of us that work within this field. However, don't let this discourage you from voting. Now more than ever, your vote matters.
One thing is clear, the matter is far from over as the appeal now makes its way through the courts.
This is very unique, and I think it's why everyone is struggling to explain exactly what will happen next.
All voters are reminded to get their ballots in by the 7 p.m. deadline on August 8th. Dylan Ancheta, Hawaii News Now.
Dylan, thank you. Jason Liang and Trevor Ozawa, two candidates running in the District 4 race, shared reactions to the decision. More than 15,000 people have already turned in their ballots. All votes for the district seat will be counted, but Waters will be ineligible to be elected.
Nobody is being silenced. No votes are being ignored. No ballots don't count. The only person who is ineligible in this race is Tommy. He can't become the council member for this district, right? The frustration and the confusion is fair. I understand how the voters feel. I feel the same.
Another candidate running for the city council position, Jason Liang, sent a statement sharing his concerns for those who have already voted. Liang says, quote, "While I agree with the rationale for the disqualification of Tommy Waters from the race, thousands who have already cast their vote are not having their voices properly heard. Both those who voted for and against him deserve to voice their opinion in an election with only eligible candidates listed as options." Tommy Waters said in a statement late this afternoon, in part, they deserve to have their voices recognized. We strongly oppose the court's ruling and are actively gathering information for our appeal. This issue transcends any single candidate. It is now about defending voter trust and the integrity of the democratic election process. I will pursue every possible option to ensure the City Council is interpreted consistently and that the people of District 4 are heard.